Modern firearms officers receive less than half the training hours while being held to significantly lower accuracy standards. The police don't shoot to kill, the police shoot to stop. And to stop someone doing something, you've got to hit them. You miss them, you're not going to stop them. So you've got to hit them. So the first priority is you hit what you are shooting at. And in this case, if it's a suspect and it has to be done, then you are aiming at the centre of mass, which is here, right in the middle of your body, right? And that's where the bullseye would be on a target, on a man-shaped target. The 7 ring would be out towards the edge, you know? Be a wider ring. Anything off the target, considered almost an automatic fail. You got a redo, but you had to come back and do that. That was our pass mark. Now, I think it's dropped, I don't know if it's dropped in Police Scotland, because this wasn't Police Scotland, this was Strathclyde Police. So during that check, shoot, we did that 4 times a year every year, so that's another 32 hours. That works out about 224 hours annually of training, and our bosses hated us being firearms officers because you were pulled away for firearms training every month. So that was 2 days they lost you. I've got to say, I loved it. I loved doing it. So that's 224 hours every year. That's nearly 6 full weeks. 6 full working weeks dedicated solely to maintaining firearms competency. And the 92% pass mark, that wasn't negotiable. It just wasn't. You either hit your targets with precision or you lost your firearms ticket. So my service weapon was a Smith & Wesson .357 Magnum revolver. And it was loaded with .38 special plus P ammunition, semi-wad cutter. And semi-wad cutter rounds are renowned for their accuracy, and they make really nice holes on targets. They're very accurate, and at 7, 10, 15 metres, we were making groupings that were like this in the target. You know, one shot, one shot, one shot, one shot, right beside each other. Little binoculars almost. As part of the training, when you're firing at that centre of mass, you want to make sure you hit it, but you're going to put 2 rounds down just to make sure that you stop. This isn't about trying to kill anyone. This is about stopping someone who is a danger. Today's firearms officers face this is what they face. And keep these numbers from what I was telling you for comparison. The initial course is 12 plus weeks. Now, this is great. This is probably longer than my initial course. So I've got to give credit where credit is due. They have an annual qualification. That's once per year. And that's down. Down from quarterly and down from, I think when I wasn't in the ARV, it was every 4 months. So then it was like 3 times a year instead of 4. But even so, today you're down. The annual training minimum is 120 hours. 120 hours is the annual training minimum. And unfortunately, most forces take that as the maximum as well, because training costs money. Today's pass mark is between 70 and 80% accuracy. Remedial training is available for scores of 70 to 80%. Below 70% requires immediate remedial work before requalification. Okay, fair dues. But let's do the maths on that. So we did 224 hours annually. Current standard's 120. That's a reduction of 104 hours. That's a 46.4% decrease. Our pass mark was around 92%. Current standard 70 to 80. Let's call it 75. That's 17% down. So modern firearms officers receive less than half the training hours while being held to significantly lower accuracy standards than officers from my generation. That's not evolution, that's regression. That service revolver was a double action revolver, i.e. that means you can pull it to fire, which needs about 13 pounds of finger strength, or you can cock it. And then it was on a hair trigger. We never, ever cocked it. The loaded weight was approximately 1.2 kilos. Iron sights only. no optics. We had no optics on this weapon, and a mechanical reliability that really was second to none. The only time it never fired, in my experience, was what's called a light strike, and sometimes the firing pin hits the round and the round doesn't go off. That's the only times I've ever seen any kind of failure. The revolver was a precision instrument. Those semi-wad cutter ammunition is designed to punch clean, accurate holes in targets. We weren't focused on tactical stopping power. We were focusing on hitting exactly what we aimed at every single time. There's something critical about that ammunition, the Special Plus P. There's significantly lower penetration capabilities than most modern police ammunition. That becomes very important. Very, very important. They had lower velocity, they had heavier bullets, they reduced likelihood of overpenetration through doors, walls, or other barriers. And it becomes absolutely crucial when we discuss the Manchester incident. The philosophy underlying our training was simple and unforgiving. If you're going to discharge a firearm in a public space, you must hit your intended target with absolute precision. Because in the real world, there are no do-overs. There's no respawning. There's no, oh, I made an error. Can I do that again? No. As no good enoughs. It was good enough? No, it wasn't. Every round you fire is accountable. Every miss is a potential tragedy because that bullet's still travelling. And it's going to keep travelling for some considerable distance until something gets in its way. And if that thing that gets in its way is a person or a child, then you've maybe just killed someone inadvertently. But you did it. Now, let's look into the modern weapons, because in my day, as I said, it was Smith & Wesson 357 revolver and Heckler & Koch MP5 9mm. Carbine, semi-automatic carbine. Today's AFOs carry the Glock 17 9mm semi-automatic pistol as their sidearm. A fine enough weapon. Semi-automatic pistol, 17 plus 1 round. So you can have 1 in the chamber and 17 in the mag. 200% increase over a 6-shot revolver. Loaded weight is 0.92 kilos, 23% lighter than the 357. 9mm NATO hollow point ammunition. Multiple optics are available. It's got a NATO bar, so you can mount all sorts of different scopes and things on it, lights on it. The Glock's more modern, lighter, holds vastly more ammunition and offers significant technological advantages. 9mm hollow point ammunition is designed for tactical stopping power and reduced over-penetration risk. A sensible choice for urban environments. All the current UK police forces use the Heckler & Koch G36C. And that's an interesting weapon because it's pretty crucial, I think, to understanding this Manchester tragedy. Greater Manchester's police's armed response vehicles don't just carry the Glock 17, they also deploy the H&K G36 carbine. And it's chambered in a 5.56 NATO round. Specifications. It's a semi-automatic carbine, 5.56mm NATO ammunition. UK police forces use Federal 55 or 62 grain tactical bonded JSP rounds. The only ammunition types recommended by the College of Policing. The muzzle velocity is over 900 metres per second. The effective range is 200 plus metres. The magazine capacity is 30 rounds. This is a vastly more powerful weapon system than either the Glock pistol or my old but reliable 357 Magnum. And this is where ballistics become critically, and I mean critically important to understand what's happened at the synagogue. 5.56mm ammunition, even in the bonded JSP, which is jacketed soft point, these rounds specifically designed to reduce overpenetration, but will easily penetrate wooden doors, drywall, brick walls, and most building materials encountered in urban environments. Research from multiple independent sources confirms that 223, which is the Mini Ruger Standard /55 .6mm rounds penetrate wood with minimal energy loss. We're talking about a round travelling at over 900 metres per second with significant kinetic energy. This is why when you're doing tactical training, you never use a vehicle as cover. So our high standard existed because our instructors knew something that maybe modern training seems to have forgotten. In operational conditions, your accuracy degrades dramatically. I mean, you've got to remember you're kitted out, you're wearing body armour, which is unwieldy and uncomfortable. Research shows that shooting accuracy can decrease by 40 to 67% in real-world unopposed encounters, and up to 86% in opposed shooting incidents, i.e. when the bad guy's shooting back at you. And that's comparing it to training. It's when you're pumped full of adrenaline, facing a knife-wielding terrorist with innocent civilians in the background, and this at this point just becomes math, and the maths are not stacking up in the favour of the innocents. But what matters more to you? An officer who understands tactical theory but can only hit the target 75% of the time, or an officer who can hit the target 92% of the time but has less tactical training. When you lower the standards from 92% to 75%, when you cut annual training hours by nearly half, when you deploy high-velocity rifle ammunition in urban environments without adequate consideration of over-penetration risks, you are accepting an increased margin of error. And in Manchester, that margin of error was measured in human life.